Okay, so hi, my name is Quentin Russell, and I am the content marketing specialist here at Doc365. And today we're going to be going over what small businesses need to know about remote working, specifically focusing on techniques and strategies that you can use to really adapt to the coronavirus outbreak. Now, as I'm sure you're aware, the coronavirus has really, well, it's impacted businesses in major ways. Everyone's had to switch over to remote working, and it's really disrupted a lot of people's workflows. One of the biggest issues that people are running into is struggling with the distinction between working from home and trying to get work done while at home in the middle of a global pandemic. There's a bit of a distinction between the two. Right now, many companies are in triage mode, and they're just trying to make sure that they can get what they need to get done so that, they're not floundering and they don't have to close their doors in the next couple of months. So getting started, let's really go over the agenda. So first, we're going to go over different strategies you can use to manage your remote team. Then we're going to go over different tools that we've found are really successful at helping your organization succeed. And then at the end of the webinar, we're going to go over a brief demo of Doc INTRANET and really show you how that can help you facilitate your remote work. So before we get started, a lot of employers have historically had issues with their employees working remotely. They've resisted it due to concerns that, there's going to be a drop in quality and the quantity of work that their employees produce. The thing is, that's not the case. In fact, Forbes reports that teleworkers are about 35 to 40% more productive than in-office employees, and their output is about 4.4% higher. In addition to that, their work contains 40% fewer quality defects, and remote workers are also more engaged. They generally tend to have 41% lower absenteeism. So in terms of the actual work they're going to produce, you don't have to be anxious about that. What that can be attributed to is it's a change in their environment. It's something new, and they're going to be really energized with that change. In addition to that, there's a bit of a blur in their hours. Generally, they tend to go a bit longer. They tend to put in anywhere between 2 to 4 extra hours per week over the average employee. However, I would like to note again that this is in normal remote working situations and not struggling to work during a global pandemic. However, while you can't expect as drastic of an increase in their productivity, you can expect some increase. Now, let's go over different strategies that you can use to really manage your team. Now, some of the issues you're going to be running into is you're going to be losing a lot of the face-to-face interactions you have while in office. It's really easy for an employee to knock on your door, come in and say hi, and really get an update on what's going on. One of the other issues you're going to run into is that without that face-to-face interaction, you're not entirely certain if your employees are actually processing what they're saying to you. While you can sort of do that over voice chat, it's really difficult to figure that out if you're just exclusively using email or IM. So one of the first things that you really need to do when managing your team is you need to set clear expectations. You need to be establishing your objectives for your employees. So you need to go over whether or not you are setting these on a weekly or a daily basis, and you need to decide based off of your projects and organizational needs. It's really important that when you're assigning goals and objectives, that they can be measured by different metrics. So whether that's overall content produced, whether that's overall, how many emails they've sent out each week, how many leads they've generated, that sort of thing. And second of all, you really need to be adaptive. You need to be tracking what is and isn't working. That way you can continually evaluate whether what you need to do in order to create an optimal remote working situation. So for instance, if you start out assigning tasks on a day-by-day basis, but that's becoming too obtrusive, maybe try switching over to a weekly task assignment. You're really focusing on the overall work that they produce per week as opposed to distinct hours worked. Um, Really, we can't give you any definitive, we can't give you a definitive answer to that. Really, like we said, it really depends on what your organization needs. And that's why you really need to be tracking that. Next up, you really need to be working on fostering open communication with your employees. So one of the issues that what you might be leaning towards the, on sticking purely to emails and IMs, because you're worried about over communicating, micromanagement. However, the thing is there's really no such thing as over communication, especially when you're trying to work during a pandemic and everyone's working from home. Really try to use phone calls and video calls as much as possible to really replicate that same in-office atmosphere as closely as possible. Second of all, one thing that you can do, and one thing that Doc has been doing, is schedule a weekly coffee break. Have everyone, log into the same Zoom chat room at like 1 o'clock on a Monday or Friday, and just have everyone catch up for 30 minutes to an hour. Really provide time to decompress and really de-stress from what's going on. That way you can also make sure that everyone's keeping the same level of engagement with one another, and also you're not forgetting each other's faces. However, it is important to know that you need to avoid micromanagement. You need to be able to trust your team. You hired them for a reason, and checking in with them every hour on the hour might be a little much. Additionally, micromanagement leads to increased stress and decreased morale in employees. And the thing is that the CDC says that stress can lead to increased danger from coronavirus, which is kind of what you're trying to protect your employees from. The thing is, you hired them for a reason, so let them show you why you trusted them in the first place. So those are just some basic strategies that you can really use to try to really keep the ship afloat. Unfortunately, right now, you're not going to be able to perform as normal. The stress of everything that's going on, people being stuck in their homes. So really doing your best to foster open communication, establish clear objectives, and avoid micromanaging your team. By doing these things, you can really, you can try to keep things sailing as smoothly as possible. So moving on to what kind of tools you should be using. So the thing is that while no one wanted a pandemic to happen, it couldn't have happened at a better time in terms of technology. If this had happened 10 years ago, we would be seeing a lot different outcomes than we are right now. Due to the advances of different digital and online tools, we've really been able to make up for a lot of the communication difficulties we would have had. One of the first ones that comes to mind is Microsoft Teams. Here at Doc 365, we personally use that. It's great for document sharing, instant messaging, phone, and video calling. Additionally, it's fully integrated with Office 365. So if you're using that, you can make sure everything's connected and integrated into one place. Additionally, it connects with your Outlook calendar. So you can make sure, and you can share that with everyone within your organization, so everyone can make sure that they're on the same page and no one's, overlapping with different things. Really, it's fantastic for companies that are already using Microsoft products, including SharePoint. Moving on, Zoom, which we are currently using right now for this webinar. We found it's one of the best video conferencing apps. It's great for large-scale video conferences and calls. I've read stories of people doing 84-person Zoom meetings, and really keeping everything organized with Zoom. It also allows you to record conferences and meetings, so you can repurpose that for video content later for later use. However, also in addition to that, it's also good for note-taking and record keeping for your person, so keeping track of what everyone is supposed to do at the end of a meeting. Moving on from communication apps, if you are a company that relies on timekeeping, TOGGL is a fantastic tool for recording time work. It allows you to separate tasks and assignments into different projects, and it really lets you see what you worked on when. It also allows you to put together a report of what you worked on each week. And one of the best parts about TOGGL is that there is a free and paid version. So I know that's especially important for small businesses who may not have the budget or may not be willing to invest in a pricier outcome. So TOGGL is, with the free version, you do get access to the time management, you get access to the being able to separate everything into different tasks, and you get access to a limited version of the report. Moving on, we're going to talk about ourselves for a little bit. INTRANET is a fantastic tool for increasing engagement and collaboration. We offer, so we built everything on SharePoint. And so what that means is we have full document management that facilitates cooperation between workers. We also, one of the things that we tout the most is our social intranet, which allows you to create a sort of digital water cooler that helps your employees maintain relationships and combat any feelings of isolation they may be feeling. So you can post things like people's birthdays, important dates, holidays. You can instant message with one another in a more personal setting. In addition to that, it comes with several custom templates that can really be used to match your organization's needs. So you can, we have custom web parts that we use to really match what you're trying to do. Ultimately, we're looking to reshape how you approach remote working. And all of this is part of our goal to really provide companies with the tools that they can use to unlock their full potential. Now, before we move on, I'd like to note that after the demo, there is going to be a question and answer session at the end if anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask us. So with that in mind, I'd like to send things over to my colleague Ben, and he'll take you through a quick demo of INTRANET.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Senjum. I'm a collaboration specialist with Doc365. Thank you very much, Quentin, for that informative session there. So what you're seeing on your screen right now is actually our INTRANET demo environment. I'm going to give a high-level overview of it. There has been an increased demand for INTRANET lately due to the pandemic. It's a great way for companies to communicate with their employees, as Quentin had touched on, and really engaging employees, throughout, the events that are currently unfolding, as before us here. So right here we have the landing page of the INTRANET. We are able to customize these to fit your needs. We've been doing this for 17 years. So there's, we have best practices to be able to get this INTRANET exactly the way you want it. What's, the most important thing about an INTRANET? Well, it's the ability to collaborate, with your team members and your employees. And it's also important that, you're keeping your employees engaged. So right here on the landing page, we have our carousel slide. It's a great way to, kind of post any news or announcements. It's capable of, having videos. It's going to scroll. It's very engaging when you kind of hit your landing page here. And we also have an alerts banner down just below it. And this will show, very important alerts coming up, maybe any information about COVID, facility closings, anything regarding to, maybe servers, things like that. You can have important information. You'll click on it. It'll open up to a larger page as well. We also have things that we've customized, like our My Tools bar. Essentially, this will, allow your employees to come to the landing page to access apps that they commonly use. With all the employees kind of being displaced out of the office, a lot of the apps and their common workplace has been kind of disrupted. So this will kind of allow them to really store all their apps in one place. We do have single sign-on capabilities, which allow them to click and go right into the apps that they commonly use every day. So that'll make sure that your employees are coming back to the internet to utilize it. We have our upcoming events right here, which is very easy to update. Your employees can come here, they can click this button, it'll download right to their Outlook calendar, so they get the reminders as any of these events coming up, maybe any virtual meetings, things like that. And as Quentin was kind of touching on as well, communication is important. At times like this, employees can kind of get lonely, feel disconnected to the workplace. So our Let's Celebrate here actually posts birthdays, new hires, anniversaries automatically right to your landing page or wherever you'd like it, really. This allows employees to kind of connect and get to know each other and open up conversations as well. We have social media integrations, and we can actually have your most recent social media feeds from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. That way your employees can kind of see, how your company is really staying in touch with the outside world. So it doesn't just go to the actual, pages. It actually shows your most recent feeds. So it's very handy for that as well. We have news and announcements as well. So that way you can update it, how is your business actually being affected by the COVID? You can, update your employees with that, with any news related to your industry. And you can pin most, important news articles as well. So they'll show up front and center once you enter the news and announcements page. And so we also have, subsites. How are you narrowing that scope of information? Because you just don't want all that important information on one landing page for your employees to come into. It would just kind of get cumbersome. So we have department sites or subsites. This is what we found, through our years of experience, is the best way to really organize your intranet is by having, department sites or subsites, even location sites. So in this example, this might be an example for IT. So while your IT team is working remotely, right here from the screen, they can access their, frequently asked questions, videos, maybe any audits results. They'll have their own alerts banner. They'll be able to come in here and even, see their colleagues' contact information, phone number, email address, who they report to, right here from this screen. They can access quick downloads and even our document center, which Quentin was talking about as well. We found that utilizing tagging capabilities is very important in regards to organizing documents. It cuts down the time to really find relevant documents. So if I simply click this tagline here, it'll populate all documents related to information system services. You can also find documents pertaining to the content, person that uploaded the content. So the user, or maybe even the data was uploaded. You can share documents right here. Click the share button and you can share the document right with your colleagues. And it's very easy to add a document. So you'd select the document, you give it a title, and then you can add which libraries. We actually are able to link multiple SharePoint libraries. And then that'll prompt the tagging, which you can go through and tag the documents or the tags that are most relevant for that document. So it's a great way to be able to, share documents with your team while everybody's working remotely. Also, employees kind of needed, a great way to have policies and procedures organized for their viewing. So we can have that right here where they'll be able to see all the policies and procedures. So it's nice and organized. So you can actually click through, find policies and, which, tags these policies relate to, or even procedures. And then we also have an employee directory, how your employees really, finding their colleagues' contact information. This is customizable as well, which, our team can show you how to customize this even, once it's deployed to your tenant. We can change to picture view, to list view, to detailed view. You'll be able to find employees by job title. You can find employees by locations or departments. You can easily search for them right here in this banner. So it's a quick way to access your colleagues' information as well. We also have, a mobile intranet app, which is important, now more than ever. So, your employees may not be in front of their laptop all the time while they're working remotely, so they can get, their alerts banner right here from their phone. This works off Microsoft Power Apps, so they'll be able to download this right to their phone. We have the events schedule right here, so they can, see what events are coming up. We can also have a bar down here to have, the other apps that you might have from Doc. They'll have a carousel banner. And then right from here, they can access their employees' information as well: email address, phone numbers, where they work. And this is customizable as well. So if they hit, they email, it'll pop right open the email from their phone. They can call from their phone, and this will open the maps as well, so they can see which office they're located at. Also, what's important is how is HR communicating, to the employees. This is a very important time for HR to be able to communicate some of those, vital documents and information to their employees. So we highly recommend having an employee resources page to be able to communicate that information with them, so the employees can easily access the employee handbook, payroll benefits. They can have frequently asked questions and see their holiday schedule, all kinds of capabilities that are very important, especially in a time right now. Organizing meetings. So kind of Quentin was touching on some of the different solutions available to, communicate with each other in virtual meetings. But how are these documents being organized, for the meeting? If you're like many other businesses out there, you probably have, meeting after meeting. And how are you storing these documents? It gets kind of confusing if you don't really remember the meeting that you had 2 weeks ago and all the documents that you had, for that meeting. PowerPoint presentations, were you recording minutes? And any, if you want to see how productive that meeting was. So we have a board meeting solution, which will come with your intranet. You can add your, and we can actually have this solution in each department. We've found that a lot of businesses really like to have one of these solutions in each department site or subsite. Or you can have like a main one for your executive team. Plenty of different ways to do it. So you can add the folks that'll commonly be in your meetings right here. And then these will be all the meetings that you have coming up. We have news and announcements for those meetings. And then we also have, a Yammer integration, so you can communicate with your team members regarding the upcoming meetings. So as I go into, this edit meeting, I can see when this meeting is going to be, where it's going to be, what we're going to talk about, and who should attend. And you can even add folks that are outside of the typical meeting. So you can simply just add them right here. Any updates you make to this will go right to those individuals as well. And then you can come into the library, which is specific to this meeting, and see all the documents related to that meeting. So you can always come back and double check everything that was discussed with our document center built right into it. And there's plenty of, so that's just kind of a high level overview. As I kind of touched on before, this is customizable. There's many different ways to be able to, customize this to make it, fit your business needs, of course. I'll just show a couple other examples, which I have as well here. So, it's completely customizable. So we'll really work with your team. We'll deploy a team of project managers and developers to work with you to get the intranet exactly the way you would like it. So just a couple of design examples, that we've come up with that we might be able to help you with as well. If you would like to schedule a demo, you can go ahead and log on to mydoc365.com. You can also email me at ben@mydoc365.com, or just give me a call at 904-309-9970. And with that said, I'll go ahead and pass it back over to Quentin to start the Q&A session.
All right, so real quick, if anyone has any questions, feel free to chime in that, or if they either doing.
Or you have to plan for it. You got to, have a goal, and you got to have a goal, and you got to put a little bit of money aside. And that's what WJ would always say too. And that's why they were able to accomplish the things that they were able to accomplish even in the 19 years that they were married. And
okay, I don't think that was a question per se. However, if anyone has any questions, feel free to either chime up about them or type them in the chat. In the meantime, we'll kind of go over a little bit more about things that you can do right now. So, for instance, if you are focused on sales right now, one thing that you can really focus on is doing your best right now to maintain your relationships with your clients. One thing about that is that you miss every shot you don't take. and you let every lead go that you don't keep warm. So make sure to at least keep in contact with them and think about of ways that you can reorient your product to really match what their needs during the outbreak. Another thing that you can really be thinking about is what you can personally do to maintain your own stress during this time. Like we were saying earlier, this is an extremely stressful time with everyone stuck in their homes and also trying to get work done during a global pandemic. So really look into different ways that you can keep centered, keep calm, keep from freaking out. We recommend doing things like creating a separate workspace, taking frequent work breaks, that sort of thing. And as part of that, make sure that you are checking in with your team. This can help with your personal social isolation, and it can also help you keep track of your employees, make sure that they're not struggling with that, and it'll also help them feel taken care of. So they potentially won't stress as much. With that, I don't think we have any questions. So that said, if you want any more advice about what you should be doing during the coronavirus outbreak, feel free to check out our blog at blog.mydoc365.com. There, we're producing weekly content on a variety of topics. Recently, we've been focusing on ways that companies can continue to succeed during the outbreak. So feel free to check that out. And like Ben was saying earlier, if you're interested in learning more about Doc Intranet, reach out to us about setting up a demo. Ben's email is ben@mydoc365.com. And I think that's everything. So thank you all for coming out, and we hope that you have a great day.